Thank you for joining us here on 5 Plus for this 5 News Original. I'm Joe Ellison.
And I'm Darren Bob. June 9th marks 30 years since Morgan Nick disappeared. Her story has become one of Arkansas's biggest unsolved mysteries. June 9th, 1995, Morgan and her family went to a Little League baseball game at an Alma ballpark.
Well, towards the end of the night, she went to go catch fireflies with some friends. It was the last time anyone saw her. Last fall, investigators named a suspect in Morgan's disappearance for the first time ever.
Yeah, they believe Billy Jack Lynx abducted her on that night back in 1995, a major development that's renewed interest in the case. So what happens next?
Well, detectives share an update and show us how DNA technology advances have not only helped in Morgan's case, but could soon help solve other cold cases in Arkansas.
This is where we store the leads in Morgan's case.
How many files would you say are in here?
Thousands.
An entire room inside of the Alma Police Department is dedicated to the 1995 kidnapping of 6-year-old Morgan Nick. Investigators have went through every single one of these,
Yes.
following them up.
Yes.
That's a lot of work and a lot of hours.
Yes.
It took more than 29 years for a suspect to be named in Morgan's disappearance.
For the first time that I'm aware of in this case, I am calling Billy Jack Lynx a suspect in Morgan's abduction. Police questioned Lynx on August 31st, 1995. He denied any knowledge of Morgan's abduction and at that time appeared to be truthful. Investigators at that time moved on.
Through a renewed investigation, police circled back to Billy Jack Lynx.
Around 2019, retired Captain Brett Hartley went back to the beginning of the case just to review, and he came upon the Billy Jack Lynx lead again.
Police located a truck that Lynx owned in 1995. It matched the description of a truck rendering that police put out shortly after Morgan was kidnapped. They tracked it down to the current owner.
We worked with the FBI evidence response team and it was processed.
They got inside every crevice, vacuumed up dirt, particles, and hair, and sent it off to an FBI crime lab, but without any luck. There was useful evidence, though they just needed more advanced testing. Morgan's mother, Colleen Nick, who has fought every day for the last 30 years to find answers, found a way to help police.
I called our detective and said, "Have you ever heard of Othram Labs?" And he said, "No." So I sent him the article and I said, "Read this. Can we talk to Othram Labs?" And he said, "Yes, let's try it." They did what nobody could do.
Othram Labs genetically linked a hair found in the truck to the Nick family, and police determined no other person within that family besides Morgan could have ever been inside.
We've developed forensic-grade genome sequencing, which is a sensitive technology that allows us to build DNA profiles from very challenging evidence. In situations where there is even no root on the hair, it's possible to build DNA profiles.
Lynx died in 2000 while serving a prison sentence.
A couple months after Morgan was abducted from Alma, there was a case in Van Buren where Billy Jack Lynx was arrested for attempting to abduct a young girl from near the Sonic in Van Buren.
And what I have to say about Billy Jack Lynx is that he stole Morgan from me. He stole her from her dad. He stole her from Logan and Taryn. But he didn't see that he could never win. Because our love for Morgan, her memory and her voice outlasted his life.
Morgan's case is far from over.
We're still looking into Billy Jack Lynx's background. We've been interviewing family members, acquaintances.
The advancement of DNA technology in Morgan's case brings hope to others across Arkansas.
On average, about every year we get report of as many as 30,000 missing children.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children supports law enforcement efforts, and they're honing in on the latest DNA technology in hopes of solving cases.
We have over 650 unidentified human remains cases that are reported to us that are believed to be children. We're seeing that forensic genealogy has really been helping, and we're utilizing that also, working with law enforcement to offer resources.
Forensic genealogy can help police identify suspects. With what investigators already know about a case, they can narrow down a suspect through their family members, similar to Morgan's case.
This is our rapid hit ID instrument, and what this instrument does is it allows us to put a swab in.
At the Arkansas State Crime Lab in Little Rock, 2 new pieces of DNA technology could help solve some of the state's oldest cold cases.
It's got all of the chemicals needed to extract the DNA from that swab.
Normally, it would take days to get results.
And it gives us a DNA profile within about 90 minutes.
Rapid DNA machines will soon be tested in Faulkner and Saline counties before being released to law enforcement across Arkansas.
Our pilot agencies are going to utilize those in their booking stations.
Arkansas State Police are also working on bringing in the latest software that could extract DNA profiles from samples that current testing can't.
But also be able to help us revisit some of our cold cases to see what DNA data that we have generated from then, and if there's anything new we can do with it with this mixture interpretation software.
Game-changing technology for investigators trying to solve cases like Morgan's. As her mom reflects on the new developments,
It felt like losing Morgan all over again.
she has hope that one day Morgan will come home.
And yet knowing that we're beginning to have answers, that we know who took her, that could lead us to where she is, that's what we ultimately want as a family.
As police interview family and friends of Billy Jack Lynx, they ask if you know anything about his life at the time. Call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. No details are too small. Well, since Morgan's disappearance, her mother and the organization that she founded have been working to help find hundreds of other missing children.
Yeah, that foundation continues to grow, leading the charge to ensure no parent has to navigate a nightmare like this alone.
After Morgan was kidnapped, I only wanted to find her, but in our search and our quest to find Morgan, we began to come across parents and other agencies, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and just the deficit of resources that existed for parents. And so our goal became to fill that deficit.
Colleen Nick started the Morgan Nick Foundation right after her daughter was kidnapped.
We really focus our resources on Arkansas. We are an 8-person office, and a lot of our federal grant money is dedicated to the state of Arkansas, so we work mostly in the state of Arkansas.
And that effort began 30 years ago.
The fact that we've been doing this for 30 years stuns me. You know, we just set out to help, and this kind of just grew almost by itself. And really, you know, Arkansas stood up with us and brought resources to the table. And what we do now is absolutely beyond my imagination of anything that we set out to do in 1995.
Morgan's sister Taryn started working at the foundation not long ago.
I've had the honor of working with hundreds of families that have gone through a similar experience. And just getting to walk that path with them until their loved one is home, it's powerful.
The foundation staff of 8 works tirelessly with law enforcement agencies all across Arkansas, educating them and working with them to find missing children. They also work very closely with parents of missing children, including Samantha Adams of Van Buren, whose adopted daughter went missing a few years ago.
In the 2 months that she was missing, the only real contact I had was the Morgan Nick Foundation. It's a great resource in our area, and nobody else is probably going to make that contact for you. I mean, if you're worried about your kid's safety and your child is in danger, I 100% suggest that you contact the Morgan Nick Foundation.
Genevieve Strickland is the foundation's assistant director.
I think the work that we do with families offering them support and oftentimes just being that listening ear for them. I think that weighs so much bigger than people realize. To be able to have your voice heard and to be able to have someone that can understand the journey that you're walking and that can help you navigate that.
She says the foundation has had to make some changes along the way to keep up with current issues like runaways and trafficking.
We have more than 2 million kids that run away every year. They make up 50% of the homeless population. That's astronomical. These are children and they're homeless and they're running, and I think we have to start asking the question, what are they running from? And oftentimes it's some sort of trafficking situation that most of the world has no idea about.
Colleen says while starting and maintaining the foundation is taxing, she wouldn't have it any other way.
I think the ability to stand with other families and to make sure that they have every resource available, it strengthens our family, knowing that we've changed how this is done and that we see children and missing adults come home safely.
And Taryn says she's right where she needs to be.
This is very important to me. I do feel that I'm honoring my sister every day when I walk in these doors, just to keep her name, alive.
If you want to donate to the foundation or just simply learn more about Morgan's story, we have a link to that website on this story on 5newsonline.com.
Thank you for joining us for this 5 News Original.